Imagine having the power to get anyone to say yes whenever you want. In this audiobook, you'll unlock the secret persuasion techniques that top negotiators, leaders, and influencers don't want you to know. Get ready to take control of your life and dominate every conversation. Introduction. Welcome to Persuasion Mastery. How to get anything you want from anyone. The audiobook that will transform your ability to influence, persuade, and succeed in all areas of life. Have you ever wondered how some people always seem to get their way? They make deals, win people over, and easily navigate challenging situations, leaving you asking, how do they do it? Well, the secret is simple. They've mastered the art of persuasion. In this audiobook, we'll show you how you can do the same. Whether you're looking to advance your career, boost your social influence, or get better results in your personal relationships, this audiobook is your ultimate guide to becoming a persuasion powerhouse. But we're not just talking about generic advice. We're diving deep into advanced strategies and actionable techniques that will give you the tools to persuade with confidence, precision, and authenticity. You'll learn how to craft messages that resonate, create trust, and influence decision makers in any scenario. What makes this audiobook different from the rest? It's not just about getting what you want. It's about doing it in a way that benefits both you and the other person. Persuasion isn't manipulation. It's about finding win-win solutions, building rapport, and creating outcomes that leave everyone satisfied. This is the key to ethical persuasion, the kind that leads to long-term success and relationships that last. No shortcuts, no sleazy tactics, just powerful strategies that work. Throughout this journey, you'll discover real-world stories, case studies, and practical exercises designed to make these strategies stick. These aren't just dry theories. They're lessons from the field, tested, proven, and ready for you to apply. You'll be inspired by real-life examples, learn from others' successes and mistakes, and put into practice what works so you can see results immediately. By the end of this audiobook, you won't just understand the principles of persuasion, you'll master them. Get ready to unlock the power to influence anyone, anytime, and create the life you've always dreamed of. Stay tuned. You're about to learn the secrets that will forever change the way you communicate, negotiate, and succeed in life. Ready to begin? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Influence. Imagine walking into any room, sitting at any table, or speaking to any person, and having the ability to effortlessly guide their decisions. Picture yourself getting that raise, winning over a difficult client, or even deepening your personal relationships, simply because you understand how people think and what drives their actions. It might sound like magic, but it's not. It's a skill. And like any other skill, it can be learned and mastered. This journey into persuasion isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about uncovering the profound principles that influence human behavior. It's about connecting authentically while guiding others toward mutually beneficial outcomes. In this first chapter, we'll delve into the psychology of influence, the foundation upon which every persuasive skill is built. By the end, you'll not only understand why people say yes, but also how to ethically and effectively align their needs with your goals. The science of why people say yes. Every day, we're faced with countless decisions: what to eat, who to trust, what to buy, and where to invest our time. Behind these choices lies a predictable set of psychological principles that subtly guide our behavior. If you've ever said yes to a friend's request, clicked on a limited time offer, or felt compelled to return a favor, you've experienced the science of influence firsthand. Let's break down these principles, starting with 6 key forces identified by social psychologists like Dr. Robert Cialdini, whose groundbreaking research has shaped our understanding of persuasion. 1. Reciprocity. Humans are hardwired to repay kindness. If someone does something for us, we feel obligated to return the favor. This principle is why free samples work so well. It's hard to say no when you've already received something for free. 2. Scarcity. People value what's rare. When something feels exclusive or limited, our desire for it intensifies. Think of phrases like "only 2 left in stock" or "limited time offer." Scarcity creates urgency and pushes us to act. 3. Authority. We trust experts. Whether it's a doctor in a white coat or a financial advisor with impressive credentials, authority figures carry immense persuasive power. Aligning yourself with authority, whether by your expertise or through association, builds trust instantly. 4. Consistency. We strive to act in alignment with our past commitments and self-image. When someone agrees to a small request, they're more likely to comply with a larger one later, simply to remain consistent with their prior actions. 5. Social proof. We look to others to guide our decisions. If a product is highly rated or a restaurant is buzzing with patrons, we're more likely to trust its value. This principle is why testimonials and reviews are so powerful. 6. Liking. We're more likely to say yes to people we like. Shared interests, genuine compliments, and familiarity all play a role in building likability and, in turn, influence. Turning principles into practical persuasion. Understanding these principles is only half the battle. To become a true master of influence, you must apply them skillfully in real-world scenarios. Let's walk through a few practical examples. Reciprocity in action. Imagine you're negotiating a business deal. Start by offering something valuable, even if it's small. A piece of advice, a helpful resource, or simply your time. By giving first, you create a sense of obligation that increases the likelihood of a favorable outcome. Creating scarcity. If you're selling a product or service, emphasize its exclusivity. Use phrases like "only available to the first 50 customers" or "spots are filling quickly" to ignite urgency without being pushy. Projecting authority. In professional settings, subtle signals can establish your authority. This might mean dressing sharply, sharing relevant expertise, or referencing credible sources. The key is to exude confidence without arrogance. Leveraging social proof. If you're pitching an idea, highlight its popularity or support. This strategy has been successfully implemented by leading companies in our industry, carries much more weight than "I think this could work." Ethical influence, the difference between persuasion and manipulation. Here's the critical distinction. Persuasion builds trust, while manipulation breaks it. True persuasion focuses on aligning the other person's needs with your goals, creating a win-win scenario. Manipulation, on the other hand, exploits vulnerabilities for personal gain. To ensure your efforts remain ethical, be transparent about your intentions. Avoid false claims or exaggerated promises. Aim for mutual benefit in every interaction. When you operate with integrity, people will not only trust you in the moment, but will continue to respect and support you over time. Exercises to strengthen your influence. Now that you're equipped with these foundational principles, it's time to put them into practice. Here are a few exercises to start sharpening your skills. 1. The Reciprocity Challenge. Over the next week, intentionally give value to others without expecting anything in return. Notice how often people reciprocate, even in small ways. 2. Social proof. Experiment. If you're recommending a product or idea, mention others who have benefited from it. Track how this impacts the response. 3. Authority audit. Reflect on how you present yourself. Are there ways to subtly enhance your authority, such as sharing credentials, citing experience, or refining your communication style? The principles of influence aren't just abstract theories. They're tools you can use every day to create meaningful connections and achieve your goals. As you start to recognize these forces in your own life, you'll see opportunities for influence everywhere. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the art of building rapport, one of the most essential skills for establishing trust and laying the groundwork for persuasion. Together, we'll unlock the secrets to connecting with anyone, anytime, anywhere. Stay with me as we continue this journey. The transformation has only just begun. Chapter 2. Building Rapport. Like a pro picture this, you walk into a room of strangers. Within minutes, you're chatting effortlessly, exchanging smiles and creating connections so genuine that people feel like they've known you forever. Suddenly, doors open, opportunities arise, and conversations shift in your favor. Not because you've manipulated anyone, but because you've mastered the art of building rapport. Rapport is the foundation of every meaningful interaction. Without it, even the most brilliant persuasion techniques will fall flat. But with it, you become magnetic. People trust you, listen to you, and want to help you. In this part, we'll explore how to create instant, lasting connections with anyone, whether it's a colleague, a client, or even a stranger. You'll learn techniques to build trust quickly, tools to understand people on a deeper level, and strategies to navigate even the most challenging interactions with ease. The science of connection. Why do some people seem to click instantly, while others struggle to make an impression? The answer lies in how we're wired. As humans, we crave connection. We're social creatures, drawn to those who make us feel understood, valued, and safe. At the heart of rapport is a simple truth. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. This means that genuine interest in others, paired with a knack for mirroring their emotions and energy, creates a powerful bond. Researchers have found that rapport relies on 3 key ingredients. 1. Mutual attention. Both parties feel heard and seen. 2. Positivity. The interaction is warm, affirming, and enjoyable. 3. Coordination. There's a natural rhythm or flow to the conversation, often achieved through mirroring. When these elements are in place, trust and connection flourish. How to build trust. Quickly and authentically. Building rapport isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about tuning into the other person's world and creating a genuine connection. Here's how you can do it step by step. Step 1. Master the art of active listening. Most people listen to respond, not to understand. This is where they go wrong. True listening is about being fully present, absorbing what the other person is saying, and reflecting it back in a way that shows you care. Eliminate distractions. Put your phone away. Make eye contact. Show that the conversation matters to you. Listen for emotions, not just words. Pay attention to tone, body language, and underlying feelings. Validate their perspective. Use phrases like, "I can see why you'd feel that way," or "That sounds really challenging." Validation builds trust and empathy. Step 2. Find common ground. We're naturally drawn to people who are like us. Finding shared interests, values, or experiences creates an instant bond. Ask open-ended questions. What do you enjoy most about your work? Or, what's been exciting for you lately? Look for subtle clues. Are they passionate about a hobby? Do they mention family often? Dive into what lights them up. Step 3. Mirror their energy and style. Mirroring is a psychological technique where you subtly match the other person's tone, body language, and pace of speech. It creates a sense of familiarity and comfort. If they're enthusiastic, let your energy rise to meet theirs. If they're more reserved, keep your tone calm and measured. Mirror gestures naturally. If they lean forward, lean in slightly. If they smile, respond with warmth. Emotional intelligence, the secret weapon for rapport. Emotional intelligence EQ is the ability to understand, manage, and respond to emotions, both yours and others. High EQ is essential for building rapport because it helps you navigate complex social dynamics with ease. How to boost your EQ. 1. Self-awareness. Pay attention to your own emotions during interactions. Are you coming across as impatient, excited, nervous? Adjust accordingly. 2. Empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. What are they feeling and why? 3. Adaptability. Be flexible in your approach. If someone seems stressed, ease into the conversation rather than diving straight into your agenda. When you combine active listening with emotional intelligence, you become someone people feel safe opening up to, someone they trust instinctively. Overcoming barriers to rapport. Let's face it, not every interaction goes smoothly. Sometimes personalities clash, trust is slow to build, or external factors create tension. In these moments, mastering rapport becomes even more crucial. When you face resistance, 1. Acknowledge their perspective. If someone seems guarded or skeptical, start by validating their feelings. I can sense this topic is important to you. Tell me more about your concerns. 2. Stay calm and centered. Don't mirror hostility or defensiveness. Instead, model the energy you want to see in the interaction. Calm, open, and respectful. 3. Find small wins. Even minor points of agreement can pave the way for deeper connection. Focus on what you can agree on, no matter how small. Breaking through cultural or personality differences. 1. Be curious, not assumptive. Ask thoughtful questions about their background or perspective without making assumptions. 2. Adapt, don't imitate. Respect differences without overcompensating. Authenticity always wins. 3. Show humility. If you're unsure about something, ask or admit it. People respect honesty over perfection. Exercises to build rapport in everyday life. Practice makes perfect. The more you consciously build rapport, the more natural it will become. Try these exercises over the next week. Mirror and match. In every interaction, practice mirroring the other person's tone and body language. Notice how this shifts the energy of the conversation. Genuine compliments. Offer sincere compliments to at least 3 people each day. Focus on qualities or efforts they might not hear about often. Deep listening challenge. Dedicate 1 conversation each day to practicing active listening. Avoid interrupting or steering the conversation. Just listen and respond. Building rapport isn't just a skill, it's an art. It's about making others feel seen, valued, and understood. A gift that not only strengthens your influence, but also enriches your relationships. As you begin to apply these techniques, you'll notice a powerful shift. Conversations will flow more naturally, trust will deepen, and opportunities will unfold where you least expect them. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to take the trust and connection you've built and craft irresistible messages that inspire action. You'll learn how to speak to both the head and the heart, turning your ideas into compelling stories that captivate and persuade. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come. Chapter 3. Crafting Irresistible Messages. Introduction. The power of words. That move people think back to a moment when someone's words truly moved you. Maybe it was a speech, a story, or even a heartfelt conversation. Whatever it was, their message didn't just inform you. It stirred something deep within, shifting your perspective or inspiring you to act. That's the power of an irresistible message. In this part, we'll explore how to craft messages that captivate both the heart and mind. It's not about being the loudest or most eloquent person in the room. Instead, it's about understanding what resonates with people, structuring your ideas in a way that sticks, and delivering them with authenticity. By the end of this chapter, you'll know how to speak so that others not only hear you, but feel compelled to act on what you've said. The psychology behind memorable messages. Why do some messages resonate deeply while others are quickly forgotten? The answer lies in how our brains process information. At its core, an irresistible message does three things. It grabs attention, creates emotional resonance, and provides clarity. 1. Grabbing attention with relevance and curiosity. The human brain is wired to filter out noise and focus on what feels relevant or intriguing. This means your opening words are critical. Start with something that hooks your audience, a surprising fact, a provocative question, or a vivid image that sparks curiosity. For example, instead of saying, "Today I want to talk about time management," you might say, "What if I told you there's a way to gain back 10 hours a week without sacrificing sleep?" 2. Creating emotional resonance. People are driven by emotions, not logic. While facts and data are important, they rarely inspire action on their own. To create an emotional connection, weave storytelling into your message. Share real-life examples, use vivid imagery, and speak to universal human desires like belonging, success, or security. For instance, instead of listing the benefits of a product, tell the story of how it transformed someone's life. 3. Providing clarity. Finally, an irresistible message is simple and easy to follow. If your audience has to work too hard to understand your point, you'll lose them. This is where structure comes in. A clear message has a beginning, middle, and end, an engaging hook, compelling content, and a strong call to action. The power of storytelling and persuasion. Storytelling isn't just a tool for entertainment. It's one of the most powerful forms of communication. Stories captivate our attention, help us relate to one another, and make complex ideas easier to understand. Why stories work? When you tell a story, you're not just sharing information. You're creating an experience. Stories activate the emotional centers of the brain, making your message more memorable and impactful. They also create a sense of connection as people see themselves in the characters and scenarios you describe. How to craft a compelling story. Every great story follows a basic structure. 1. The hook. Start with a moment of tension or curiosity that grabs attention. 2. The struggle. Describe the challenge or problem faced by the protagonist, which could be you, a client, or someone relatable. 3. The resolution. Show how the challenge was overcome, leading to a positive outcome. 4. The takeaway. Tie the story back to your message or call to action. For example, if you're persuading a team to adopt a new strategy, you might share a story of how another team faced similar challenges and achieved remarkable results. Structuring your message for maximum impact. To make your message truly persuasive, it needs to flow logically while keeping your audience engaged. A proven structure for crafting impactful messages is the Problem, Agitate, Solve framework. 1. Problem. Start by identifying the pain point or challenge your audience is facing. Be specific and relatable so they feel, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm dealing with." 2. Agitate. Highlight the stakes if the problem isn't addressed. What will they lose? How will it affect their goals or values? Don't overdo it, but help them feel the urgency to act. 3. Solve. Present your solution as the answer to their problem. Show how it aligns with their needs and demonstrate the benefits with clear examples or proof. For instance, if you're pitching a productivity tool, you might start by describing how overwhelming it feels to juggle tasks, problem, emphasize the missed opportunities and stress caused by inefficiency, agitate, and then showcase how your tool streamlines workflows, saving time and energy. Solve. Delivering your message with authenticity. Even the most well-crafted message can fall flat if it feels rehearsed or insincere. Authenticity is what makes your words land. People don't just listen to what you say. They pick up on how you say it. Tips for authentic delivery. Speak from the heart. Share personal stories or experiences when appropriate. Vulnerability builds trust and makes you relatable. Be conversational. Avoid overly formal or robotic language. Speak as you would in a natural conversation, even if you're addressing a large audience. Match your delivery to your message. If you're speaking about an exciting opportunity, let your enthusiasm shine. If the topic is serious, adopt a tone that reflects its gravity. Overcoming nervousness. Many people struggle with nerves when delivering important messages. The key is preparation and perspective. Practice until you're comfortable with your content, but don't aim for perfection. It's okay to stumble slightly, as long as you recover gracefully. Remember, your goal isn't to impress, it's to connect. Exercises to hone your message crafting skills. To master the art of crafting irresistible messages, practice is essential. Here are a few exercises to get you started. 1. The Elevator Pitch Challenge. Write a 30-second pitch for an idea, product, or cause you're passionate about. Focus on making it clear, compelling, and emotionally resonant. Practice delivering it until it feels natural. 2. Storytelling practice. Think of a personal story that illustrates a lesson or principle you want to share. Use the hook struggle resolution takeaway structure to craft it into a compelling narrative. 3. Feedback loop. Share your message with a trusted friend or colleague and ask for honest feedback. What parts resonated most? What could be clearer or more engaging? Crafting irresistible messages isn't about being flashy or clever. It's about understanding your audience, speaking to their needs, and delivering your ideas with clarity and heart. When you combine the principles of attention, emotion, and structure, your words become a force for influence. In the next part, we'll build on this foundation by exploring the art of negotiation. You'll learn how to handle objections, navigate tough conversations, and guide others toward agreement, all while maintaining trust and collaboration. The tools you gain here will make your persuasion toolkit even more powerful. Let's keep moving forward. You're becoming unstoppable. Chapter 4. The Art of Negotiation. Introduction. Turning conflict into collaboration. Negotiation is a dance, a delicate balance of give and take, of listening and asserting, of patience and persuasion. Yet for many, negotiation feels intimidating, like stepping into a battle where only one side can win. What if I told you that negotiation doesn't have to feel adversarial? That it can be a collaborative process where both sides walk away satisfied, relationships are strengthened, and trust is built. This chapter is your blueprint for mastering the art of negotiation. Whether you're asking for a raise, resolving a conflict, or closing a deal, the strategies here will empower you to navigate even the toughest conversations with confidence. You'll learn how to frame your arguments persuasively, handle objections gracefully, and turn disagreements into opportunities for connection. By the end, you won't just be negotiating, you'll be leading. Understanding the psychology of negotiation. At its core, negotiation isn't just about numbers, contracts, or agreements. It's about people with emotions, priorities, fears, and aspirations. To become an effective negotiator, you must first understand what drives human behavior in these situations. One of the most powerful concepts in negotiation psychology is the principle of perceived value. People don't make decisions based on objective reality. They act based on their perception of what's valuable to them. This means your job as a negotiator isn't just to present facts or offers. It's to shape how the other person perceives the value of what you're offering. Another critical factor is loss aversion. Research shows that people are more motivated to avoid losses than to achieve equivalent gains. For instance, the fear of losing $100 is more compelling than the prospect of gaining $100. Understanding this can help you frame your proposals in ways that highlight what the other party stands to lose if they don't agree. rather than just what they gain if they do. Finally, emotions play a massive role in negotiation outcomes. While logic and facts are important, decisions are often made emotionally and then justified rationally. Building rapport, demonstrating empathy, and managing emotions, both yours and theirs, are essential skills for successful negotiation. Preparing for a negotiation. The hidden advantage. The most skilled negotiators know that success is won or lost before the conversation even begins. Preparation is your secret weapon, and the more thoroughly you prepare, the more confident and effective you'll be. Start by clarifying your goals. What do you want to achieve, and what's your ideal outcome? Be specific and realistic. At the same time, identify your BATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. This is your fallback plan if the negotiation doesn't go your way. Knowing your BATNA strengthens your position and prevents you from accepting unfavorable terms out of desperation. Next, research the other party. What are their goals, priorities, and pain points? The more you understand their perspective, the better you can frame your arguments in ways that resonate with them. This step isn't just about gathering facts. It's about empathizing with their position and anticipating their objections. Finally, prepare your value proposition. What do you bring to the table that the other party needs or values? Focus on benefits rather than features. For example, instead of saying, "This software has advanced analytics," frame it as, "This software will help your team save hours each week by automating data analysis." The negotiation process. Strategies for success. When it's time to sit down at the table, the key is to stay flexible, focused, and collaborative. Here's how to approach each stage of the negotiation process. Step 1. Build rapport and set a positive tone. Start by creating an environment of trust and collaboration. Greet the other party warmly, express gratitude for their time, and find common ground to break the ice. This isn't just polite. It sets the tone for a productive conversation. Step 2. Ask, don't assume. One of the biggest mistakes in negotiation is making assumptions about what the other party wants. Instead, ask open-ended questions to uncover their needs and priorities. For example, what's most important to you in this agreement? What challenges are you facing right now? Listen actively and take notes. The more you understand their perspective, the better you can tailor your arguments to address their concerns. Step 3. Frame your proposals. Effectively. When presenting your offer, focus on how it solves their problems or meets their needs. Use clear, concise language and back up your claims with evidence. For instance, if you're negotiating a salary increase, you might say, "I've taken on several additional responsibilities this year, including managing the new client portfolio, which has resulted in a 20% revenue increase for our team. Based on market research, I believe a salary adjustment to specific figure reflects the value I'm bringing to the company." Step 4. Handle objections with empathy. Objections are a natural part of negotiation, and how you respond to them can make or break the deal. Instead of getting defensive, acknowledge their concerns and address them constructively. For example, them, "Your price is too high." You, "I understand that budget is a concern. Let's explore how we can adjust the scope to make this work within your constraints." By reframing objections as opportunities to collaborate, you keep the conversation moving forward. Overcoming stalemates and tough situations. Not every negotiation goes smoothly. Sometimes you'll hit a stalemate, or the other party may take a hardline approach. In these situations, staying calm and strategic is crucial. Breaking stalemates. When you're stuck, revisit shared goals or explore creative compromises. Ask questions like, "What would make this agreement work for you? Are there any other options we haven't considered?" If necessary, take a break. Sometimes, stepping away from the table allows both parties to regroup and approach the discussion with fresh perspectives. Dealing with difficult negotiators. When faced with aggressive or manipulative tactics, maintain your composure and stand firm on your key priorities. Use techniques like reframing. Turn their negative statements into constructive discussions. Silence. Don't rush to fill awkward pauses. They often prompt the other party to speak first. Walking away. If the negotiation becomes unproductive or hostile, be willing to end the conversation. A strong BATNA gives you the confidence to do so without fear. Exercises to sharpen your negotiation skills. Negotiation is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Try these exercises to hone your abilities. 1. Role-playing. Practice negotiating with a friend or colleague, taking turns playing the other party. Focus on asking questions, handling objections, and framing your proposals. 2. Reverse negotiation. Put yourself in the other party's shoes and argue their position. This helps you anticipate their perspective and refine your strategy. 3. Debrief and reflect. After every negotiation, reflect on what went well and what could have been improved. Use these insights to grow. Negotiation isn't just about winning. It's about finding solutions that work for everyone involved. By approaching it as a collaborative process, you can build stronger relationships, create lasting agreements, and earn respect as a thoughtful and effective communicator. In the next part, we'll explore how to handle objections and resistance more deeply. You'll learn how to reframe doubts, address fears, and turn no into yes without sacrificing your integrity or the trust you've built. You're on the path to becoming a master negotiator. Keep going. Chapter 5. Turning Resistance into Agreement. Introduction. The hidden opportunity in no. No can feel like a brick wall, an impassable obstacle that signals failure in persuasion. But what if you began to see resistance not as a roadblock, but as a stepping stone? What if every objection or hesitation wasn't a rejection, but an invitation to dig deeper, build trust, and create a more compelling argument? Resistance, when handled skillfully, is a natural and necessary part of persuasion. This chapter is dedicated to mastering the art of navigating resistance. You'll learn how to uncover the fears and concerns behind objections, respond with empathy and authority, and transform moments of doubt into opportunities for connection and agreement. Resistance isn't the end of the conversation. It's often where the real persuasion begins. Understanding the root of resistance. Resistance is rarely about the surface-level objection you hear. More often than not, it stems from deeper fears, doubts, or unmet needs. To address resistance effectively, you must first understand what's driving it. The 3 core causes of resistance. Fear of loss. People. Fear losing money, time, or credibility. For instance, a potential client might hesitate to commit to your service because they're afraid it won't deliver the promised results, wasting their budget. 2. Uncertainty. When people don't have enough information or confidence in their decision, they default to no. This is often a self-protective mechanism to avoid making a mistake. 3. Mismatched values. Sometimes resistance arises because your proposal doesn't align with the other person's values or priorities. For example, someone might reject a higher-paying job offer because it doesn't offer the flexibility they value. Recognizing these underlying causes allows you to tailor your responses to address the real issues rather than just the symptoms. Reframing objections as opportunities. When faced with resistance, your first instinct might be to push harder, explain more, or convince the other person why they're wrong. But this approach often backfires. making them dig in their heels even further. Instead, see objections as opportunities to build trust and demonstrate understanding. Step 1. Acknowledge and validate their concerns. The quickest way to diffuse resistance is to show that you've heard and respect their concerns. For instance, if a client says, "I'm not sure this is the right fit for me," resist the urge to jump in with counterarguments. Instead, respond with empathy. "I completely understand." Making a decision like this can feel overwhelming, and it's important to feel confident before moving forward. By validating their feelings, you lower their defenses and open the door for a productive conversation. Step 2. Ask clarifying questions. Instead of guessing what's behind their resistance, ask open-ended questions to uncover the root cause. For example, "Can you tell me more about what's holding you back? What would make you feel more confident about this decision?" These questions not only provide valuable insights, but also show that you care about their perspective. Step 3. Reframe the objection. Once you understand their concerns, reframe the objection in a way that highlights the benefits of your proposal. For instance, objection: "This feels too expensive." Response: "I hear you. Budget is always an important consideration. Many of my clients felt the same way initially, but they found that the long-term savings and results far outweighed the upfront cost. Would it help if I broke down how this investment pays off over time?" By shifting the focus from cost to value, you address their fear while reinforcing the benefits of your offer. The art of active listening. True persuasion begins with listening. When people feel heard, they're more likely to lower their defenses and open themselves to your ideas. Active listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding the emotions, motivations, and needs behind them. The 4 levels of listening. 1. Hearing, simply catching the words being said. 2. Understanding, comprehending the meaning behind the words. 3. Empathizing, connecting with the emotions driving their words. 4. Responding, reflecting back what you've heard in a way that shows you truly understand. For example, if someone says, "I just don't think this is the right time," an empathetic response might be, "It sounds like timing is a big concern for you right now. Can you share more about what's making this feel difficult to commit to at the moment?" This approach not only validates their feelings, but also invites them to share more, giving you the opportunity to address their concerns more effectively. Handling common types of resistance. While every objection is unique, there are common patterns of resistance that you're likely to encounter. Here's how to handle them. "I don't have time." Time objections often mask deeper concerns about priorities or perceived value. Respond by emphasizing efficiency and outcomes. "I completely understand. Time is one of our most valuable resources. That's why I've designed this to fit seamlessly into your schedule and deliver results quickly. Would it help if I walked you through how we can make this as time efficient as possible?" It's too expensive. Cost objections are usually about perceived value rather than the actual price. Highlight the return on investment. "I get it. Budgeting is always a concern. What's important to keep in mind is the long-term benefits you'll gain. For example, this product or service could save you X hours or increase your revenue by Y%. Let's explore how this aligns with your goals." "I need to think about it." This often indicates uncertainty or fear of making the wrong decision. Respond by offering to clarify or provide additional information. Of course, it's important to take the time you need. What specific questions or concerns can I address to help you feel more confident about moving forward? Exercises to strengthen your objection. Handling skills. To become a master at overcoming resistance, practice is essential. Try these exercises to refine your skills. 1. Role-play common objections. With a friend or colleague, practice responding to objections like cost, timing, or uncertainty. Focus on listening and reframing. 2. Mirror and reflect. Practice active listening by repeating back what the other person says in your own words. This builds rapport and ensures you understand their perspective. 3. Reframe challenges. Write down common objections you encounter and brainstorm ways to reframe them positively. Handling resistance isn't about forcing your way through objections. It's about meeting people where they are, understanding their concerns, and guiding them toward a solution that feels right for both sides. When you approach objections with empathy, curiosity, and confidence, you don't just overcome resistance, you build trust and strengthen relationships. In the next part, we'll dive into advanced persuasion techniques that leverage the principles of influence and authority. You'll discover how to use scarcity, social proof, and reciprocity to make your proposals even more compelling. Stay tuned. You're transforming into a true persuasion master. Chapter 6. Advanced Persuasion Techniques. Persuasion at its highest level is seamless. It feels natural, even effortless, as though the decision to agree or comply was entirely the other person's idea. What separates the good persuaders from the masters isn't just their ability to craft arguments or handle objections. It's their understanding of the subtle, invisible forces that influence human behavior. Advanced persuasion techniques tap into the psychology of influence, leveraging principles that are hardwired into the way we think and make decisions. These methods don't manipulate or deceive. Instead, they align your message with the natural tendencies of the human mind, creating a pathway of least resistance to agreement. This chapter will take you beyond the basics, equipping you with tools that are both powerful and ethical. From scarcity to authority, reciprocity to social proof, you'll learn how to apply these principles in ways that build trust, foster connection, and inspire action. The power of reciprocity. Giving to receive. Human beings are wired to respond to kindness with kindness. This is the principle of reciprocity. When someone does something for us, we feel a natural obligation to return the favor. It's one of the oldest and most universal rules of social behavior, and when used thoughtfully, it can be a powerful tool for persuasion. How reciprocity works in practice. Imagine you walk into a meeting with a potential client. Before the conversation even begins, you offer them a small but thoughtful gesture, a personalized report, a cup of coffee, or even a sincere compliment about their recent work. This act, while seemingly simple, activates a sense of indebtedness in their mind. They're now more likely to listen to you, consider your offer, and even agree to your proposal. The key to effective reciprocity is authenticity. The gesture must feel genuine, not calculated. If people sense that you're giving solely to get something in return, the effect is lost. Focus on providing real value, whether it's useful information, an act of service, or even just your undivided attention. Harnessing scarcity. Creating a sense of urgency. We crave what we can't have. The principle of scarcity taps into our fear of missing out, driving us to act quickly to secure something before it's gone. This is why limited time offers, exclusive deals, and rare opportunities are so effective. They make us feel that the decision must be made now, or the chance will be lost forever. Applying scarcity ethically. To use scarcity in a way that builds trust rather than pressure, focus on framing it as an opportunity rather than a threat. For example, instead of saying, "If you don't act now, you'll lose this deal," try, "We have a few spots left this month, and I'd love to secure one for you if this feels like the right fit." Scarcity doesn't just apply to products or services. It can also apply to your time and attention. By positioning yourself as someone whose expertise or availability is in demand, you increase your perceived value. For instance, I'm currently working with a limited number of clients to ensure I can provide the highest level of support. If this sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love to discuss it further. The authority principle. Why expertise matters. We're more likely to trust and follow people who we perceive as experts. This is the authority principle, and it's rooted in our tendency to defer to those who seem knowledgeable, credible, and experienced. However, authority isn't just about having credentials. It's about how you communicate your expertise in a way that resonates with others. Building and demonstrating authority. To establish authority, you need to show, not tell. Instead of saying, "I'm an expert in this field," share stories, results, or testimonials that highlight your experience. For example, over the past 5 years, I've worked with over 50 businesses to improve their marketing strategies, resulting in an average revenue increase of 30%. Your authority is also reflected in the way you carry yourself. Confidence, clarity, and composure all signal that you're someone worth listening to. And don't forget to back up your claims with evidence, whether it's data, case studies, or endorsements from respected figures in your industry. Social proof. The power of collective influence. Humans are social creatures, and we often look to others to guide our decisions. This is the principle of social proof. When we see that others are doing something, we're more likely to do it ourselves. Social proof creates a sense of safety and validation, reassuring people that they're making the right choice. Using social proof. Effectively, social proof can take many forms, including testimonials, reviews, case studies, and endorsements. The key is to make it relatable. For example, if you're persuading a small business owner, highlight stories of other small businesses you've helped. If you're working with a specific demographic, showcase examples from people in that same group. Numbers can also amplify social proof. Phrases like, "Join the thousands of customers who have benefited from our services," or 95% of our clients see results within the first month, create a compelling narrative of trust and success, combining principles for maximum impact. The true power of these persuasion techniques lies in their ability to work together. For example, you might use authority to establish credibility, scarcity to create urgency, and social proof to provide reassurance, all within the same conversation. Imagine you're presenting a new product to a potential client. You could say, "This product has been developed based on years of research, authority, and is already being used by leading companies in your industry." Social proof. "We only have a limited supply available this quarter, so now is a great time to secure your order." Scarcity. By layering these principles, you create a persuasive message that appeals to multiple psychological triggers, increasing the likelihood of agreement. Exercises to practice advanced techniques. 1. Reciprocity in action. Identify a way to provide value to someone before making a request. This could be as simple as sharing a helpful resource or offering a genuine compliment. 2. Crafting scarcity statements. Write down how you might frame scarcity for a product, service, or opportunity you're offering. Focus on creating urgency without being pushy. Building your authority. List 3 ways you can demonstrate your expertise in your field, such as sharing case studies, publishing content, or highlighting achievements. 4. Collecting social proof. Reach out to past clients or colleagues for testimonials or reviews that showcase your impact. Practice weaving these into your conversations. Mastering advanced persuasion techniques isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about aligning your message with the psychological principles that naturally guide human behavior. When used ethically and authentically, these techniques not only increase your ability to persuade, but also deepen trust and connection with those you interact with. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to tailor your persuasion approach to different personality types and situations, ensuring that your message resonates no matter who you're speaking to. Get ready to elevate your influence to the next level. Chapter 7. Tailoring your approach to different personalities. The true power of persuasion isn't just knowing what to say. It's knowing how to say it to the right person in the right way. People are unique. They come with different values, motivations, fears, and communication styles. Understanding this and adapting your persuasion strategies to fit each individual personality is what separates a good persuader from a great one. Have you ever noticed how some people respond well to a direct, logical approach, while others are more motivated by emotional appeals? Some people want details, while others prefer to hear a big-picture vision. Some are driven by social validation, while others need authority and evidence. Your ability to identify these differences and adjust accordingly can make the difference between a yes and a no. This chapter will introduce you to different personality types and how to tailor your persuasion techniques to connect with each one. You'll learn how to read people's cues, adapt your approach on the fly, and build rapport quickly with anyone, no matter their communication style. The analytical personality, the power of logic and facts. Analytical personalities are often logical, data-driven, and meticulous. They thrive on facts, evidence, and clear reasoning. When persuading someone with an analytical mindset, it's crucial to demonstrate that your ideas are grounded in solid logic and can be backed up with concrete evidence. How to communicate with an analytical person. 1. Be detail-oriented. Analytical individuals appreciate thorough explanations, avoid vague promises, and instead provide specific data, research, and statistics that support your argument. They want to know how things work, what results can be expected, and what the potential risks are. 2. Respect. Their need for time. Analytical personalities often need time to process information. They won't make decisions based on gut feelings or emotional appeal, so don't rush them. Be patient and give them the space to ask questions, digest the information, and come to their own conclusions. 3. Use logic to frame your proposal. Instead of trying to win them over with emotional appeals or quick sales tactics, focus on how your offer solves their problems or improves their situation in a rational way. Use frameworks, facts, and statistics to make your case. For example, we've seen that companies who implement this strategy experience a 20% increase in efficiency over the first 6 months. Let me show you the data that supports this. The key is to be prepared, precise, and evidence-based. 7.2. The driver personality. The power of efficiency and results. The driver personality is goal-oriented, decisive, and focused on achieving results. They want to know how your proposal will help them achieve their objectives, quickly and efficiently. They value time and don't want to be bogged down with unnecessary details or fluff. How to communicate with a driver 1. Be direct and to the point. Drivers don't have time for small talk or excessive details. When presenting an idea, get straight to the point. Emphasize how your solution aligns with their goals and provides the results they're looking for. 2. Highlight results and efficiency. Drivers are motivated by outcomes, so focus on how your solution delivers results. Present clear, measurable benefits and show how your proposal will save them time, effort, or resources. For example, this solution will cut your processing time by 30% and increase your team's productivity, freeing up time for more important tasks. 3. Be confident. Drivers respect confidence and decisiveness. They want to know that you're in control and that you can deliver on what you're promising. Avoid hesitation or over-explaining. Just present the facts with authority. With drivers, it's all about speed, efficiency, and clear results. The amiable personality, the power of relationships and reassurance. Amiable personalities are people-oriented, warm, and nurturing. They value relationships, harmony, and trust. When persuading someone with an amiable personality, it's important to establish a strong rapport and create a sense of security. They want to know that your proposal won't just work, it will benefit them and the people around them. How to communicate with an amiable person. 1. Build a personal connection. Amiable personalities respond well to genuine human interactions. Take the time to connect on a personal level before diving into business. Ask about their interests or well-being, and show that you care about them as a person, not just as a means to an end. 2. Use positive, supportive language. Focus on the positive aspects of your proposal and how it will improve their situation, particularly in ways that benefit others. For example, if you're proposing a new program to an amiable client, frame it in terms of how it will help their team or improve their community. 3. Reassure them. Amiable personalities can be risk-averse, so they may need extra reassurance that your proposal won't disrupt their environment or relationships. Provide guarantees or case studies from other individuals or teams that have successfully implemented similar solutions. Amiables want to feel that your proposal aligns with their values and will lead to positive outcomes for everyone involved. They respond best to kindness, trust, and a sense of community. The expressive personality. The power of emotion and vision. Expressive personalities are charismatic, energetic, and driven by big ideas. They tend to focus on the bigger picture and are often more emotionally motivated than logically driven. To persuade an expressive person, you need to appeal to their emotions, inspire them with a compelling vision, and show them how your proposal aligns with their personal values and goals. How to communicate with an expressive person. 1. Appeal to their emotions. Expressive are motivated by passion and vision. When making your pitch, emphasize the emotional benefits of your proposal and paint a vivid picture of how it will help them achieve their larger goals. For example, this solution will allow you to finally bring your vision to life, creating an impact that will resonate with everyone in your community. 2. Create a compelling story. Expressives connect deeply with stories, so use narrative techniques to present your solution. Share success stories, testimonials, or personal anecdotes that illustrate the positive impact your idea can have. 3. Be enthusiastic and energetic. Expressives are attracted to energy and enthusiasm. When you present your idea, let your excitement show. Your passion will be contagious and will help them connect emotionally with your vision. For expressives, it's all about the emotional connection and the possibility of making a big impact. Adapting your approach in real time. While knowing these personality types is invaluable, the real skill of persuasion comes from being able to read people in real time and adjust your approach accordingly. People are dynamic, and their needs, fears, and motivations may change throughout the conversation. How to read, cues, and adjust. Mutter, watch body language. Subtle shifts in body language can indicate a person's level of comfort, engagement, or resistance. If they lean in, nod, and maintain eye contact, they're likely receptive. If they cross their arms, avoid eye contact, or seem distracted, they may need more reassurance or a different approach. Listen to their tone of voice. The tone and pace of someone's speech can tell you a lot about their personality. A fast-paced, assertive tone may indicate a driver, while a softer, more relational tone may suggest an amiable personality. Adjust your language. If someone starts to seem overwhelmed with details, shift to a more high-level, vision-oriented approach. If they appear emotionally engaged, dive deeper into the emotional benefits of your proposal. Mastering this level of adaptability allows you to build stronger connections, guide conversations more effectively, and create a more persuasive message for each individual. Persuasion isn't one size fits all. By recognizing and adapting to different personality types, you increase your chances of connecting with people and guiding them toward agreement. As you move forward, remember that persuasion is an art, not a science. Your ability to adjust your approach, read the room, and create a personalized experience for each person will elevate your influence to new heights. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to strengthen your emotional intelligence to better understand and connect with people on a deeper level, ensuring your persuasive efforts are always in tune with the needs of others. Stay with me. You're on your way to becoming a true persuasion master. Chapter 8. Emotional Intelligence, the Secret to Deep, Lasting Influence. Imagine a scenario where, despite your best logical arguments and strategic persuasion techniques, you still can't get the response you're hoping for. The person you're trying to influence isn't convinced. They might seem distracted, indifferent, or even resistant. What's missing? The missing ingredient in this scenario isn't more data, a sharper pitch, or a flashier presentation. What's missing is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and influence emotions in both yourself and others. It's a critical component of persuasion because emotions drive decision-making far more than logic. No matter how persuasive your arguments are on paper, if you can't connect emotionally with your audience, they may never be fully convinced to take action. In this chapter, we're going to explore why emotional intelligence is the key to persuasion that goes beyond words. You'll learn how to hone your EQ to foster deeper connections, build trust quickly, and influence others in a way that feels natural, authentic, and effective. With the right emotional intelligence skills, you can unlock a whole new level of influence and connect with people on a far more profound level. The 5 components of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence isn't just about feeling your feelings or being nice. It's a multifaceted skill that can be developed and refined. Psychologist Daniel Goleman, one of the foremost experts on emotional intelligence, identified 5 core components that form the foundation of EQ. 1. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts, behaviors, and decision-making. When you are self-aware, you're more likely to remain calm and grounded in high-stakes situations and less likely to react impulsively or defensively. In the context of persuasion, self-awareness helps you recognize when your emotions may be clouding your judgment or influencing your approach to others. Are you feeling frustrated because someone's not responding to your pitch? Are you trying to convince someone because you're desperate for approval? Being aware of these emotions allows you to adjust your approach before it negatively impacts the conversation. Example: if you're presenting a proposal and notice that you're becoming anxious or frustrated because the other person isn't responding as you hoped, acknowledging that emotion allows you to take a step back, refocus, and approach the situation with more patience and clarity. 2. Self-regulation. Self-regulation is the ability to control or redirect disruptive emotions and impulses. It's about staying in control, even when the conversation doesn't go the way you expected. Self-regulation allows you to maintain composure, avoid emotional outbursts, and stay objective in your decision-making. In persuasion, this is especially important when you face resistance or pushback. People will often try to challenge your ideas or question your credibility. If you lose your temper or react defensively, you risk damaging the relationship and losing influence. Instead, by practicing self-regulation, you can respond calmly and thoughtfully, keeping the focus on solving the problem rather than reacting to the emotion of the moment. Example: let's say someone challenges your proposal by raising doubts about your product. Instead of getting defensive or dismissive, self-regulation allows you to calmly acknowledge their concern and offer a well-thought-out response. I understand why you might feel that way. Let me share more data on how this has worked for others in similar situations. Motivation. Motivation refers to your ability to stay focused on goals, even in the face of setbacks or obstacles. It's the drive to achieve, not just for external rewards, but for the satisfaction of doing something meaningful. When you're motivated, you're more likely to persist, even when things aren't going your way. In the context of persuasion, motivation ensures that you don't give up too soon. You'll be more likely to find creative solutions when you encounter resistance, and you'll remain dedicated to your goal without resorting to high-pressure tactics. People are more likely to trust and follow someone who is genuinely motivated by a desire to help and serve, rather than someone who is motivated purely by self-interest. Example: if you're negotiating a deal and hit an impasse, your motivation will keep you focused on finding a win-win solution. Instead of giving up or resorting to manipulation, you'll stay engaged and try to work through the problem with creativity and persistence. 4. Empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It goes beyond sympathy, feeling pity for someone, and taps into the emotional experience of the person you're interacting with. When you can empathize with someone, you can better understand their fears, desires, and motivations, allowing you to tailor your message to resonate with their emotional state. In persuasion, empathy is a game changer because it allows you to connect on a deeper level. It helps you read between the lines, hear unspoken concerns, and navigate sensitive conversations with care. Empathetic communication helps you avoid misunderstandings and strengthens relationships. Example: imagine you're persuading a colleague to take on a new project. If you sense that they're feeling overwhelmed, you can empathize with their situation. I understand that you've got a lot on your plate right now. If it helps, we can break this down into manageable steps, and I'll support you through the process. 5. Social skills. Social skills involve the ability to manage relationships and build networks. People with high social skills are able to influence, inspire, and navigate social complexities effectively. They excel in communication, conflict resolution, and collaboration, and they can read social cues to build rapport and trust. In persuasion, social skills are essential for creating an environment where others feel comfortable and confident. They allow you to adjust your message based on the individual and build a connection that feels genuine and supportive. Whether you're persuading one person or an entire group, social skills help you navigate the conversation with ease, making others feel heard, understood, and valued. Example: if you're in a team meeting and sense that tension is building between two members, your social skills allow you to step in and mediate, ensuring that the conversation remains productive and focused on collaboration, rather than turning into a confrontation. How to develop and strengthen your emotional intelligence. Now that we've covered the 5 components of emotional intelligence, let's talk about how to develop and strengthen these skills. Emotional intelligence is not something you're born with. It's something you can learn and cultivate over time with deliberate practice. 1. Practice self-awareness. Start by regularly reflecting on your emotions and how they impact your interactions. Journaling can be a powerful tool for this. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to write about the emotions you experienced during important conversations or interactions. Were you calm and confident? Or did you feel anxious or defensive? What triggered these emotions and how did they influence your behavior? Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns in your emotional responses, and you'll be able to catch yourself before emotions cloud your judgment. 2. Develop self-regulation techniques. Self-regulation is all about finding ways to stay calm and composed in stressful situations. One effective technique is mindfulness, taking a few deep breaths and grounding yourself in the present moment before reacting to a stressful situation. When you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed or defensive, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and assess the situation objectively. 3. Cultivate empathy. Empathy is a skill that can be developed through active listening and practicing perspective taking. When you're in a conversation, try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. What are they feeling? What do they need? Ask open-ended questions that encourage them to share their thoughts and feelings, and listen attentively without interrupting. 4th, build social skills. Social skills can be honed through practice. Take every opportunity to engage in conversations, network, and collaborate with others. The more you interact with different types of people, the better you'll become at reading social cues and adjusting your approach to fit the situation. Focus on building rapport and finding common ground with others to create a positive and supportive environment. Emotional intelligence is the backbone of persuasive communication. When you can connect with people on an emotional level, build rapport, and understand their motivations, you become an incredibly influential force. Developing your EQ isn't just about influencing others. It's about fostering deeper, more meaningful relationships that last. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to use storytelling as a tool for persuasion, tapping into the emotional power of narrative to move others to action. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the advanced strategies that will take your persuasive abilities to the next level. Chapter 9. Storytelling, the persuasion tool that creates lasting impact. When you think about some of the most persuasive people throughout history, what stands out about them? Was it their credentials? The facts they presented? Or maybe it was the way they told their story? The truth is, storytelling is one of the most powerful tools in persuasion. The reason is simple. Humans are wired for stories. Our brains process stories more effectively than raw data or isolated facts. Stories stir our emotions, engage our imagination, and are easier to remember than abstract concepts. In this chapter, we'll explore why storytelling is such a potent persuasion tool, how to craft a compelling narrative that resonates with your audience, and how to incorporate storytelling into your persuasion techniques. By mastering storytelling, you'll not only persuade others, but leave a lasting impression that will endure long after the conversation ends. Why storytelling works, the neuroscience of persuasion. Before we dive into the mechanics of storytelling, it's important to understand why stories are so effective at persuading people. Research in neuroscience shows that when we hear a story, our brains light up in ways that make us feel like we're actually experiencing the events ourselves. Our empathy system kicks into gear, and we become emotionally invested in the characters and plot. This is the magic of storytelling. It creates an emotional connection between you and your audience. Moreover, storytelling taps into both our logical and emotional sides. While the plot and structure can appeal to the logical mind, it's the emotions evoked by the story that truly drive decision-making. For example, consider how we often remember movies or books, not just for their plot, but for the feelings they left us with. Those feelings influence our thoughts and behaviors, often in ways that are difficult to explain. This is exactly what happens in persuasion. The emotional impact of a well-crafted story often leads to action, even if the person can't fully articulate why they're persuaded. When you craft and deliver a story effectively, you invite your audience into your world. You allow them to see your point of view, feel the emotions you felt, and experience the journey alongside you. And once they're emotionally engaged, they're far more likely to be influenced by your message. The key elements of a persuasive story. Not all stories are created equal. In fact, while any story has the potential to persuade, only the right kind of story will effectively move someone to action. A persuasive story has several key components that make it compelling, engaging, and ultimately persuasive. 1. A relatable protagonist. At the heart of every good story is a character that your audience can relate to. In persuasive storytelling, this character is often you, or someone who embodies qualities that resonate with your audience. The protagonist should face challenges or obstacles that are relevant to the listener, ones that they can empathize with or see themselves overcoming. For example, if you're selling a product that helps people save time, your story might feature a busy professional who struggles to balance work and family life. When your audience sees that character's struggles, they naturally empathize and become more open to hearing about how your product can provide a solution. 2. A clear conflict or challenge conflict is the driving force of any compelling story. Without a challenge or conflict, the narrative falls flat. In the case of Persuasion, the conflict is often the problem your audience is facing or a pain point they want to overcome. This conflict could be personal, professional, or emotional, but it should feel urgent and significant to your audience. For instance, if you're trying to persuade someone to change their habits, you might describe the internal or external conflicts they are experiencing due to their current way of thinking or living. The greater the challenge, the stronger the emotional response will be when your protagonist finds a solution. 3. A transformation or resolution. In a persuasive story, the protagonist should experience a transformation, either through overcoming their challenges or discovering a new path forward. This resolution is crucial because it offers hope and a tangible solution for your audience. The transformation shows that change is possible and demonstrates that your product, idea, or approach is the key to achieving the desired outcome. For example, if your persuasive story involves a business solution, the transformation might be a company that went from struggling with inefficiency to achieving record profits by implementing your strategy. This transformation should feel attainable to your audience, allowing them to see how the same change can happen for them. 4. Emotional resonance. A persuasive story must evoke emotion. Without an emotional connection, a story is just information. People don't make decisions based solely on logic. They make decisions based on how they feel. Therefore, your story must include emotional highs and lows to draw the listener in. Whether it's empathy, hope, excitement, or even fear, emotions are what drive people to take action. Consider how a well-told story can stir emotions. Perhaps it's a personal struggle the protagonist endures, or a moment of triumph that resonates deeply. The emotions tied to the resolution are often the tipping point that pushes people to make decisions they might have otherwise delayed or avoided. 5. A clear call to action. Every good persuasive story needs a clear call to action, CTA. After your audience has experienced the emotional journey of the story, you need to tell them what to do next. This is the part of the story where you show them how they can achieve the same transformation as the protagonist. Whether it's buying a product, signing up for a service, or adopting a new mindset, your CTA should feel like the natural next step in the story. For example, after telling a story about someone who achieved success with your approach, the CTA could be something like, "Now that you see how this solution works, it's time to take the first step. Here's how you can get started today." Crafting your persuasive story. Now that we've covered the key elements of a persuasive story, let's discuss how to craft one that will resonate with your audience. The process of crafting a persuasive story involves several stages. Each stage requires thoughtful consideration and the ability to tailor the narrative to your specific audience. 1. Know your audience. Before you begin crafting your story, it's important to understand who your audience is. What are their pain points, desires, and goals? What challenges are they facing? The more you know about your audience, the better you can craft a story that speaks directly to their needs. 2. Define the core message. Every story should have a central message or theme. What are you trying to persuade your audience to believe or do? What is the primary takeaway you want them to leave with? Once you define this core message, everything in the story should revolve around it. The protagonist, the conflict, and the resolution all need to serve the purpose of reinforcing this central idea. 3. Create the structure. A persuasive story follows a classic narrative arc. Introduction. Introduce the protagonist, their world, and the conflict. Rising action. Show the struggles the protagonist faces as they attempt to resolve the conflict. Climax. The turning point where the protagonist discovers the solution or transformation. Falling action. The resolution where the protagonist experiences the positive change. Conclusion. Reinforce the call to action and emphasize the takeaway message. 4. Weave in emotion. Emotion is what makes a story memorable, so it's essential to weave emotional highs and lows throughout your narrative. Whether it's the frustration of the protagonist facing obstacles or the joy of discovering the solution, make sure the emotions are authentic and resonate with your audience's experiences. 5. End with action. After you've told your story, make sure the audience knows what they should do next. The call to action should feel like the natural next step in the story. By this point, your audience will have emotionally invested in the journey, and they'll be more likely to follow through on your suggestion. Using storytelling in persuasive communication. Once you've crafted your persuasive story, it's time to use it strategically in your communication. Here are a few tips for integrating storytelling into your persuasion efforts. 1. Tailor your story to the situation. Every conversation or presentation is unique, so adapt your story to fit the context. Whether you're talking to a potential client, persuading a colleague, or motivating a team, choose a story that aligns with the needs and interests of your audience. 2. Use storytelling in presentations and pitches. Stories are a great way to break the ice, establish rapport, and make your presentation memorable. Whether you're introducing yourself, explaining your product, or making a case for a proposal, storytelling can help illustrate your points in a relatable and engaging way. 3. Practice your delivery. A story is only as powerful as the way it's told. Practice your delivery to ensure that you convey emotion, build suspense, and highlight the key moments of the story. A well-told story can captivate your audience and create a lasting impression. Storytelling is a potent tool in your persuasive toolkit, allowing you to connect with others on a deep, emotional level. When you craft a story that resonates with your audience's experiences and desires, you create an environment where persuasion feels natural and effortless. By mastering storytelling, you're not just persuading people to take action. You're leaving them with a lasting impression that will influence their decisions long after your conversation ends. In the final chapter, we'll tie everything together and explore how to build lasting influence by mastering the art of persuasion in everyday life. With all the tools and strategies you've learned, you'll be ready to become a true master of persuasion. Stay with me. You're almost there. Chapter 10. Becoming a Persuasion Master. Mastering Influence for Lasting Success. In the final chapter of this audiobook, we're diving into something that every true master of persuasion understands. Persuasion is not just about getting what you want in the moment. It's about creating lasting influence, the kind of influence that doesn't fade away once the conversation is over. The kind that stays with the person you've persuaded, shaping their thoughts and actions long after you've walked away. True persuasion is about building trust, relationships, and a reputation for being someone who has the ability to move people in a meaningful, positive way. When you master the art of persuasion, you're not just influencing others. You're shaping the very foundation of your interactions and establishing yourself as a trusted advisor. Persuasion becomes a part of who you are, and your influence becomes a key factor in your success, not just in one area of life, but in every area. Whether you're in sales, leadership, or simply navigating day-to-day relationships, the skills you've gained throughout this audiobook will be invaluable. But before we wrap up, let's focus on how you can apply these principles consistently to achieve lasting success. Building trust, the cornerstone of influence. One of the most important and often overlooked aspects of persuasion is trust. Without trust, you'll never be able to persuade someone effectively. Building trust isn't something that happens overnight. It's a gradual process that requires consistent, genuine effort. Trust forms the foundation for influence because people are more likely to listen to, follow, and believe those they trust. Without trust, even the most well-crafted arguments and sophisticated techniques will fall flat. To build trust, you need to focus on authenticity and reliability. When people feel that you genuinely care about them and their needs, and that you're consistent in your actions, they begin to trust you. Trust is cultivated over time through small gestures, keeping your promises, being transparent, and demonstrating integrity. Example: let's say you're working with a team and there's a new project coming up. If you've consistently shown that you're dependable, honest, and fair, your colleagues will trust your leadership and guidance on the project. They'll be more inclined to listen to your suggestions and buy into your ideas. This trust can make a huge difference when it comes time to persuade them to adopt your approach. Creating a win-win dynamic, the foundation for mutual benefit. True persuasion isn't about forcing others to comply with your will. It's about creating a win-win dynamic, a situation where both parties feel like they've gained something of value. Persuasion works best when it's grounded in mutual benefit. The more you can align your goals with the goals of the other person, the more likely they are to say yes to your proposal. A win-win dynamic requires empathy, understanding, and a genuine interest in helping others. When you focus on what's best for the other person, rather than just yourself, you create an environment where they feel valued and respected. This mutual respect fosters an openness to your ideas and creates a sense of cooperation rather than competition. Example: if you're negotiating a deal, instead of pushing for the best terms for yourself, focus on how both parties can benefit. For example, you might offer a solution that addresses the other party's pain points while still meeting your own needs. This approach builds trust and makes it easier to persuade them to agree to your terms. Consistency, the key to becoming an influential figure. Consistency is what solidifies your influence over time. When people see you consistently demonstrating the principles you preach, they begin to believe in your character and judgment. Your influence isn't based solely on the immediate impact of a single conversation, but on the cumulative effect of all your interactions over time. The more consistently you demonstrate integrity, reliability, and respect, the more your influence grows. Consistency is particularly important when it comes to following through on promises. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you promise to follow up, follow through. These small actions build your reputation as someone who can be counted on, and this is essential for creating lasting influence. Example: imagine you've convinced a colleague to take on a difficult task. If you're consistent in supporting them, offering guidance when needed, and checking in to ensure they feel confident in their approach, you'll not only gain their trust, but also their respect. Over time, they'll be more likely to listen to your input and trust your judgment. Mastering the psychology of influence. To truly master persuasion, you need to understand the psychology behind human decision-making. People don't always make decisions based purely on logic. Much of their decision-making is influenced by unconscious biases, emotions, and cognitive shortcuts. As a persuasion master, you need to understand these psychological factors and use them to your advantage. For example, one key psychological principle is reciprocity, the idea that when you give something of value to someone, they feel compelled to return the favor. This principle can be incredibly powerful when building influence. By offering something helpful, whether it's advice, a small favor, or a resource, you trigger a sense of obligation in the other person to reciprocate. This can lead to more favorable outcomes in your interactions. Another principle is social proof, which is the idea that people are more likely to do something if they see others doing it. If you can show that others have already taken the actions you're suggesting, it makes your proposal more persuasive. Social proof is why testimonials, case studies, and success stories are so effective in influencing others. Example: if you're trying to persuade a potential client to purchase your service, you might share a case study of how a similar client benefited from your product. This taps into the principle of social proof, making it easier for your client to trust that your solution is effective. Applying persuasion to everyday interactions. Mastering persuasion doesn't mean you have to be constantly on or using high-level strategies in every conversation. In fact, the most effective persuasion happens in everyday interactions. Whether you're having a casual chat with a colleague, giving feedback to a friend, or asking for a favor from a family member, you can apply the principles of persuasion to create positive outcomes. Start small. Use active listening to understand the needs and desires of others, then craft your message to address those points. If you're asking someone to do something, make sure they feel heard and valued. By focusing on building relationships and aligning your goals with those of others, you naturally increase your persuasive power in day-to-day interactions. Example: if you're trying to persuade your partner to try a new hobby, start by actively listening to their interests. Instead of simply saying, "You should try this," frame it as, "I know you've always enjoyed activities that get you out of the house, and I think this would be something fun we could try together." By showing empathy and making it a shared experience, you're more likely to get a positive response. Continuous improvement, growing your persuasion skills. Becoming a master of persuasion doesn't happen overnight. It's an ongoing process of learning, practicing, and refining your skills. As with any other discipline, the more you practice persuasion, the better you'll become at it. It's also important to remain open to feedback and continuously reflect on your interactions. One way to accelerate your growth is to observe other skilled persuaders. Watch how they communicate, how they influence others, and how they navigate different situations. By studying the techniques of those who excel at persuasion, you'll gain insights into strategies you can incorporate into your own approach. Additionally, take time to reflect on your own interactions. What went well? What could you improve? Regular self-assessment is key to ongoing growth. By now, you've learned the essential strategies and techniques needed to become a true master of persuasion. From understanding emotional intelligence and storytelling, to building trust and applying psychological principles, you have the tools necessary to influence others and get what you want, all while fostering genuine relationships. But remember, the true power of persuasion comes not from using these techniques to manipulate or coerce others, but from the ability to understand their needs, align your goals with theirs, and create positive, lasting outcomes for everyone involved. Now it's time to put these principles into action. Whether you're negotiating a business deal, inspiring your team, or simply having a conversation, use the techniques you've learned to communicate with clarity, confidence, and empathy. With practice and consistency, you'll not only become a persuasion expert, you'll become someone others trust, respect, and look to for guidance. As you step forward with these newfound skills, know that you have the ability to influence, persuade, and create meaningful change in your life and the lives of others. The world of persuasion is at your fingertips. Take action, keep learning, and become the master of influence you were always meant to be.